Pour that coffee strong, sweethearts. Nothing cures a hangover quite like watching your best friend navigate. The morning after. Chapter 19. Morning after. Pablo's paw batting at her nose woke Darcy from dreams filled with snow and kisses and possibilities. He sat on her chest, harness dangling from his mouth, golden eyes full of adventure.
Absolutely not.
She removed the harness from his teeth.
The moose incident was a one-time performance. We're not doing an encore.
Pablo dropped the harness and gave her a look that clearly said, "Coward."
Don't judge me. Some of us learn from our mistakes.
She touched her lips, still feeling the ghost of last night's kiss.
Most mistakes, anyway.
A weak knock at her door preceded Maya's groan.
If you're awake, I need coffee. And possibly death.
Darcy let her friend stumble in, noting Maya's designer sunglasses worn indoors and her death grip on an empty Gatorade bottle.
That bad?
I tried to teach Edward sculpture interpretive dance.
Maya collapsed onto Darcy's couch, Pablo immediately claiming her lap.
There's video evidence.
Of course there is.
Darcy started the coffee maker, grateful she'd thought to unpack it yesterday.
Rose?
Posted it to the lodge's Instagram story. I'm now trending as drunk pottery lady does the nutcracker.
Better than woman lets cat fight moose.
Speaking of fighting wildlife.
Maya managed a weak grin.
That was quite a kiss last night. When's the sequel?
Darcy busied herself with mugs, hoping to hide her blush.
Shouldn't you be too hungover for matchmaking?
I'm never too anything for matchmaking, besides.
Maya accepted the fresh coffee with grabby hands.
Someone needs to counteract your self-sabotaging tendencies.
I do not.
You turned 3 years of dating into comic fodder.
That's different. That was...
Darcy stared into her coffee.
processing.
And now
it's...
She thought of Callum's photos. How he captured real moments without softening their edges. How he trusted her with his pain, his walls. How easily she could turn this into content, into something safe and contained and ultimately false.
complicated.
Pablo meowed imperiously, abandoning Maya to paw at the window. Outside, fresh snow blanketed everything, and somewhere in the distance, a moose watched the lodge with what Darcy swore was amusement.
he's different.
Maya said quietly.
You know that, right? The way he looks at you. That's not comic material. That's real.
That's what scares me.
The words slipped out before she could stop them.
Good.
Maya winced as she sat up straighter.
Real should be scary. Otherwise, it's just another panel in your comfort zone.
When did you get so wise?
Somewhere between my 5th and 6th wine spritzer. Though that might have been when I was explaining to Rose why all my pots look vaguely phallic.
You didn't.
I definitely did. Very eloquently with hand gestures.
Maya squinted at her through designer frames.
But we're not changing the subject. You like him.
Yeah,
He likes you.
maybe.
He kissed you like a Hallmark movie finale.
Maya?
And you're already planning how to turn it into content instead of living it.
Darcy's protest died in her throat. Outside, the moose ambled past, Pablo tracking its movement with predatory focus. Some things, she realized, couldn't be safely contained in panels and punchlines. Some things demanded to be lived, even if they might hurt.
Oh God, I think the room is spinning again. Please tell me you have more Gatorade. And maybe a time machine so I can unteach Edward sculpture the robot.
Just Gatorade and ibuprofen.
It'll do.
Maya accepted both gratefully.
But don't think this gets you out of talking about last night. Once my head stops trying to escape my body, we're discussing that kiss in detail. And your tendency to hide behind your art when things get real.
Only if we discuss your drunk pottery interpretive dance first.
Deal. But first coffee, so much coffee.
Maya squinted at her watch.
Also, don't we have that Christmas Eve breakfast thing in an hour?
What Christmas Eve breakfast thing?
The mandatory festive one? With the whole lodge? Where you'll have to face the guy who kissed you senseless while I was pretending not to watch from my window.
Pablo chose that moment to knock the harness off the table as if to say, at least a moose would be less complicated. He wasn't wrong.
So,
Darcy settled back with her coffee.
about this interpretive dance. I need details.
Apparently, and this is according to Rose's Instagram captions, I decided Edward's melted metal sculpture needed movement interpretation. Started with basic ballet positions, which wouldn't have been so bad if I'd been wearing something other than my pottery apron.
Please tell me you had clothes under the apron.
Thankfully. though the part where I tried to demonstrate how the sculpture's fluid dynamics matched the sugar plum fairy variation.
Maya buried her face in a throw pillow.
Let's just say my pirouettes aren't what they used to be. Rose got the exact moment I spun into the Christmas tree.
That explains the pine needles in your hair.
Does it explain why I tried to convince Edward to be my dance partner? Poor man was still mourning his melted sculpture. But there I was, insisting he needed to feel the emotional resonance through interpretive dance. Rose has video of him attempting a very reluctant pas de deux with his own artwork, but speaking of emotional resonance.
Don't.
That kiss though, I mean, damn, the way he just...
Maya made a gesture that was definitely not appropriate for the ballet.
If that's how he kisses in public, imagine how he...
Maya.
What? I'm just saying Bob might get jealous. Though from what I saw, those hands of his could probably...
We are not discussing Callum's hands before breakfast.
Fine. We'll discuss them after breakfast. In detail, with diagrams.
I hate you.
You love me. Now,
Maya stood, swaying only slightly.
let's get you dressed for this breakfast. That green sweater worked wonders last night, but for Christmas Eve...
She was already heading for Darcy's closet.
We need something festive. Something that says I'm not thinking about your hands at all.
I thought we weren't discussing his hands.
We're not. We're discussing what you're going to wear while not discussing his hands.
Maya emerged with a red sweater dress Darcy had forgotten she packed.
This. With those boots that make your legs look amazing. And maybe that necklace that draws attention to your...
You're supposed to be hungover.
Honey, I could be literally dying and I'd still make sure you look good enough to give Mountain Man some new photography inspiration.
Maya's grin turned wicked.
Private collection stuff.
Pablo watched them from his window seat, radiating judgment as Maya transformed Darcy's bedroom into what she called a Christmas romance war room.
The key
Maya declared, wielding a mascara wand like a conductor's baton.
is to look like you're not trying to look like you're thinking about last night's kiss. While definitely making him think about last night's kiss.
That made no sense.
Trust me. By the time I'm done, he won't be able to focus on his pancakes.
Maya paused thoughtfully.
Though maybe avoid the syrup. Sticky situations should wait until at least the third date.
Maya!
What? I'm just helping you live in the moment instead of drawing it.
Her voice softened.
Besides, your blush is doing half my work for me.
40 minutes later, Darcy had to admit Maya knew what she was doing. The sweater dress was festive without trying too hard. The boots were practical enough for snow while still being cute, and her hair fell in soft waves that looked artlessly perfect.
There.
Maya stepped back to admire her work.
Now you look like a Hallmark movie heroine who definitely isn't planning to jump the sexy lodge owner under the mistletoe.
I hate you.
You'll thank me later. Possibly under the mistletoe.
Pablo meowed his opinion of their priorities, nosing hopefully at his empty food bowl. At least someone's desires were simple.